Hello everyone, welcome back to Edidose. So today we are going to start a new topic and a new chapter, that is what manufacturing industries. So this is a very important chapter of geography in the basis of the term 2. So let's understand it in deep and have a conceptual clarity of this chapter in a very suitable manner. So first of all we will learn that what is manufacturing. So manufacturing. Manufacturing, you can say it is just the production of goods that is processed by the raw materials to the valuable products. So as we have seen that sugar that we use in our daily lives, it is produced from the sugar cane. So here you can see that the raw material that is used for making sugar is what? The sugar cane. So when the sugar cane is produced, or you can say that when the sugar cane is processed, it has been made into what? Sugar. So it is a more valuable product that we use instead of the sugar cane. So you can see here that by the manufacturing only, the production of goods is done in large quantities, because the manufacturing is done by large industries, large factories, so that the production of goods in a large quantity has been done. After the processing of raw materials to valuable products is called what? Manufacturing. So as we have seen manufacturing, so let's discuss the next topic. So what is the importance of manufacturing? This is a very important topic. In the previous year questions, it has been come in the 3 marker or the 5 marker questions. So you can have a look of that there are 3 questions that has been asked in the previous year questions of 2018, 2017 and 2016 also. So there has been asked in the 3 marker question type, but it can also come in the 5 marker also. So these are some 3 question types that has asked the importance of manufacturing. That is what they describe the importance of manufacturing sector in countries like India, or the manufacturing sector is considered as the backbone of the economic development of the country. Support the statement with examples. Describe the importance of manufacturing. So you have seen that how they have created the question by reversing the type of question or by adding some statement proof so that you can be confused. But let's see the answer to this question. So manufacturing, you can say it is the backbone of the development here, because manufacturing in the NCERT there is a line given that the economic strength of a country is measured by the development of the manufacturing industries. So you can say that by the manufacturing industries, as they provide us economy, or they provide us capital that they gain, they provide us capital. So by the capital, you can say that the much earning will be there of the industries, the much more the economy will prosper us of our country only, because the industries are of our country only and they pay taxes to us, they have the profit and also gives us the profit because of the economy. So you can say that the development or the backbone of development is also known as the manufacturing sector. So as we know that manufacturing has helped in the backbone of the development also, and it also helps in the modernizing the agriculture. So as we know that in the agricultural chapter we have learned that the primitive agriculture is also being done in the earlier days, but now when the modernizing have been done in the agriculture, by the modernized way of agriculture has been done, new vehicles, new transportation are used to have the agriculture in a modernized way. So it also helped the agriculture to modernize and to do the work very efficiently and on time. So the reduce of the heavy dependence of people on agricultural economic income by providing them jobs in secondary and tertiary sectors. So as we know that the primary sector was of the agricultural only, that is what the raw materials that we produce. So raw materials are produced from the agriculture only. So the second thing, that is what the two another sectors, that is what the secondary sector and the tertiary sector. So we know that in the secondary sector it is also known as the industrial sector. So as we know that in industrial sector, if more industries, more manufacturing industries will be planted, so then more employment, more the people will have some employment for their income. So then the prosperity of the country will also be on the uprise. So the industrial development is a precondition of eradication of unemployment and poverty from our country. This was the main philosophy behind the public sector industries and joint sector ventures in India. It was also aimed at bringing down the regional disparities, establishing industries in tribal and backward areas. So this line says that when industrial development had done, the eradication, or you can say the employment generation, was at the most, because when the industries were made, the employment generation has been done here. So if the poverty is also have been despaired because of the employment basis. So the main philosophy behind the public sectors and the sector that has been the joint ventures of our India, that when, if we say that every state is not at the most prosperous as the same one, if we see that where the tribal and backward areas are there in the states, so if we plant some industries on that area, so there will be more urbanization and more industrialization will be there, and when the industrialization will be there, so more employment generation will be there, as we have studied here. So more employment generation will be there. So because of the employment generation, the poverty will also become less. So this will prosperous the tribal and backward areas also, and this will also generate the employment. That is why industries are a most asset of the country. So the fourth point is that employment of manufactured goods expands trade, commerce, and brings much needed foreign exchange. So foreign exchange is what? That we import materials from the foreign countries and also we export them. So the import and export from the other countries in our world is known as foreign exchange. So because of the export of manufactured goods, the trade and commerce will also expand, because we know that if the export of manufactured goods will be what? Valuable more than the raw materials, because we know that the raw materials are not that much valuable as the manufactured goods are. So the countries that transform the raw materials into a wide variety of finished goods of higher value are prosperous, as I have told you earlier. So India's prosperity lies in increasing and diversifying its manufacturing industries as quickly as possible. So here you can see that India is doing some measures and taking some measures so that the manufacturing industries can be prosperous or can be diversified. As we have seen that in India, the agriculture is at the most. So because of the agriculture, there is what? More raw materials, and the manufacturing should be done to make these raw material more valuable, so that India can also be prosperous like the other countries that transform the raw materials into a wide variety of finished goods of higher value. So let's highlight the 5 points that we are going to write. That the first point is what? So the sum up to that answer is that the first point says that it is the backbone of development. Then the second point is what? It modernize the agriculture. So these are some highlighted points so that you can remind the points that you have to conclude on your 5 points or 3-point answer. So the next thing is what? They reduce heavy dependence of people on agricultural income. So as we know that industry also provides employment, so the reduction of the heavy dependence of people on the agriculture income will be less because of the employment that has been generated by the industrial sector. So there is a eradication of unemployment and poverty will be there because of the industrialization. And the third or the fifth, the foremost point is what? The regional disparities that is what regional disparities can be reduced, or you can say can be bring it down. So these are the highlighted points that you can write or you can learn through, that you can consist of or you can conclude on your 5 or 3 marker answer. So the next topic is what? The contribution of industries to national economy. So how the industries contribute the national economy, or how they contribute to the economy of our India. So as we know that the GDP contribution of the economy from the industries is what? 27%. The total amount that the industries conclude are 27% to the national economy, the GDP contribution it is. So from the manufacturing sector, if we divide these contributions, so it is from the manufacturing sector and the second is from the industrial sector. So manufacturing sector consists the 17% and the industrial sector consists of 10%. So in the industries like mining or quarrying activities or electricity or gas activities has been included, and in the manufacturing sector the processing of goods or the production of goods has been included. So in the manufacturing sector, if you see that, you will think that the 17% is a much more value than of the 10%, but it is not, because in the foreign countries, or you can say the East Asian countries or economies, they have about 25 to 35% from only the manufacturing. So you can see here that they are much prosperous countries as from India, and they have a ratio or percent of 25 to 35% GDP ratio or GDP contribution from the manufacturing sector only. So if you think, when the industrial sector will also add up to their manufacturing sector, then how much ratio of GDP contribution will they make by to the national economy? So this thing, to write this thing or to contribute more to the economy, a thing that is what? The national. So the trend of growth by manufacturing is about 7% or 7% per year, but the desired growth that we desire is what? 12%. So as we have desired of about 12%, but the growth rate that is what? 7%, but the desired growth is what? 12%. So to achieve this, we have made some interventions or some appropriate policies so that we can achieve these growth rate or the growth rate of the GDP contribution. So the government has made some policies and some new interventions and the new efforts so that the industries can improve their productivity. So the economists have predicted that the manufacturing can be reached to the achievement of the desired growth by the next decade. So the important thing is that the National Manufacturing Competitiveness Council has been set up by this objective only, to so that we can achieve the target of 12% growth rate on every decade. So that this council has been set up by that objective only. So I have to also give you another thing, that is what I forgot to give you in the earlier slide, that is what? Agriculture and the industries, they move hand in hand. So this line means that when industries will have a rise, then in the agriculture will also have a boost in them. So for instance, if we take that agro-based industries in India have a major boost to agriculture by raising its productivity. They depend on the latter for raw materials and to sell their products such as irrigation pumps, fertilizers, insecticides and pesticides, and moreover. So these machines and the tools that have to be given to the farmers, they will have to contact to the industries only. As we see that when agriculture or when the modern agriculture is used, or when the modern agriculture is have to happen, then some instruments, you can say some assets have been used that are from the industries only. So we can see that the industries and the agriculture move in hand to hand. So the industrial location is our next topic. That is what, when we need industry or when we have to set up an industry, the main factors, or you can say some factors, are needed so that the industrial location should be at the most or at the prior. So we can see that the first thing that we need at the industrial location is what? Availability of raw material. So if the availability of raw material will be very not far from the industrial location, and the industry that has been set up at a place will not be that far, so the transport that we will use to import the raw material will be less, the transport expenses will be less, and the labor that we use to export or to import will be also less. Then the labor, that is what the second thing and the most important thing, that is what labor, not only the labor, we want the skilled labor, because when we need the skilled labor, then no expenses will be done to have the skilled labor, because when we have the simple labor we have to do some expenses so that we can train the labor, but if we have the skilled labor we have to make no expenses. And the third and the most important thing is what? Capital, that is what? Money. So capital is what? That when we have a industrial location, as that we have cities near to the industries or we have markets near the industry, so the capital that we are using or the money that we are using can be easily have a profit of them, because when we are having cities or markets very not far from the industry location, so the transport will be less, the labor will be less to export or to import the transport or the materials that we need, so the capital that we use will be also less. And the market is also playing an important role, because if the market will be not that far from the industry, so then the market, or you can say that the materials that we use or that we produce can easily be transported to the market and no extra expenses will be done. So let's see the two flowcharts that has been given in the NCERT to have a better and clarity of these topics. So let's look upon to the ideal location of the industry. It is just a chart of NCERT, chart from NCERT that has been given. So let's have a look on this also. So the ideal location for industry, as it is written, that the cost of obtaining raw materials at the site means the transport. Both of these points, that the cost of distribution of products and the cost of obtaining the raw materials is based upon the transport. Means when the transport or when the transport expenses will be less, the profit will be more. Because if we know that if the cost that we are doing or the investment if we are doing at a low cost, then if the money that we will have a more profit. So the much low cost we will give to the industry, the more profit we will take. So here we can see when we have the when we obtain the raw materials by having the transport at a very low cost, then the profit from the material will be more. And when we will distribute the production or when we distribute the products to the markets, and if the markets are also near to the industry, then the transport expense will also be low. Then the decision to locate the factory, that the same points like the market should be near so that the transport can be low and at a low cost. Then the second thing is what? Labor. If we have set up a factory, so there are skilled laborers or not, and the power supply is there or not, because if there is no electricity, so we have to make more generators and we have to give them more fuel, and the cost of that will also have a high rise. So these three important things are there so that we can have the decision of to locate factory at the most prior things. And the second last thing is what? Raw material. That the raw material as we are having, so that it will also be available at a low cost, or the transport cost will also have a low, so that we can have more profit. So the cost of production at the site means when the things that we are producing should also have a low price. So this the whole thing is, we can see that the whole ideal production is based upon the key decision, that is what? Low cost. So I think you have understood that the main thing to locate an industry is what? Low cost. That everyone needs low cost so that the profit will be more and the cost that we are giving to the industry would be low, so that we can have more profit. So this is the next chart that we are having to look upon from the NCERT. It is somehow blur, I am so sorry for that, but please manage. So the inputs that we are using for the industry, that is what? Raw materials and the component parts that we have to use. Then the factors of production, as we have learnt in the first chapter, that is what? Land, labor, capital and entrepreneurial infrastructure that we are using for the industries. Then there should be some transport so that we can transport the raw materials to the industry or factory. Then the factory will have some outputs or products that we have produced. Then it will be also have a transport to transport the valuable or the finished products to the market, so that we can have some money or capital. So this money will be used in two terms. The first is what? We will have some profit from it, and the second will be used as the input. So the raw material that has been used will also, the raw material that we have purchased is also from this profit, or you can say the money that we have gained will be used as the purchasing of raw material also, and it will be used as profit. So the components that we have seen for the industrial location that has influenced by the industrial location is not really possible to find all these factors available at one place. So manufacturing activities tends to locate the most appropriate places where all the factors of industrialization are either available or arranged at a low cost. So you can see that the main key decision to locate a factory is what? The least cost, and the government policies and specialized labor also influence the location of industry, because if the government measures or interventions are so strict, so we can also have a loss, or you can say if the government policies or the location where we are setting up the industry have so much of strikes, so we can have a loss. So we have to see the government policies also and the specialized labor that has been used or can be made to the industry. So after the industrial activity starts, urbanization follows. So how the urbanization follows, as sometimes industries are located in or near to the industries. So thus we can say that industrialization and urbanization go hand in hand, because when there you can see that when industries is set up, so you can see that if industries are set up, that the industry will need labor, and labor will have some houses, so that if they are having houses, or the labor will have families to live there only, so the schools will also have an interest to set up, because they will have more admissions and they will have a more public there. So when at a small rate only, at a slow rate only, but industrialization will move with the urbanization also, because when industrialization activity starts, the urbanization follows as well, as we have seen and are looking upon it. So as urbanization follows the industrialization, it also benefits to the industrialization, as now we will see that. So the cities, if there is what? Urbanization near the industries, the setup of cities will be there. So cities will provide the markets first. The most beneficial thing is what? Markets and the services. So the markets are the most important, because if the cities will provide markets to the industry, there will be the transport expenses will be what? Low, and services provided by the cities will be what? Such as transport, as we have seen, the labor, the specialized labor, the consultant or the financial advices, insurance and the banking processes to the industries only. So this is a very important flow chart to understand the industrial location of the industries. So the agglomeration economies. So you can also say this as the urban agglomeration. So what does this term mean? So if we see that there is a industrial location and one industry has been set up here. So if you can see in this picture that one industry is there and other industries, so much of industries has been here because one industry, if we see that one industry has been set up here, so the another industries will think that if one industry has been set up in that area, so there must be some advantages, you can say some advantages, or you can say that the policies of the government should not be that much strict, and some labor needed, that is what, at a low cost. So the industry, if one industry has been set up there, so the other industries think that we should also set up our industry here so that we can also have the advantages that the first industry that has been set up is having. So when one industry is set up, the other industries also follows the first industries and set up their own industry at the place. So if we take an example for the urban agglomeration, we can take an example of the Bangalore. So as we have seen that Bangalore is having most of the education companies there. So all the irrigation companies are there in Bangalore only, because one have think that if the one has set up here, so there must be some advantages so that they can also have the advantages. So the agglomeration economy definition is like that many industries tend to come together to make use the advantages offered by the urban centers known as agglomeration economies. So this is also a very important topic that you should learn, because this chapter, the whole chapter is very important. You will have some very important questions from this chapter only. So the idea of industrial location that has been used to locate the industries near cities is not in the modern nature only. From the pre-independence period, means from the 1947 or before 1947, they are also having an idea that most manufacturing units were located in the point, or you can say in the places that have a point of view of the overseas trade, because in the earlier times the trade was only from the sea area or sea routes, because that time we don't have some that much airways, or you can say airway lines, or transport was not that much modern so that we can have a airway transport. So the overseas trade was that much, so that they can place the manufacturing units at the Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai, as they are having some coastlines there. So because consequently they emerged certain pockets of industrialization, developed urban centers surrounded by a huge agricultural hinterland. So if we see that the manufacturing units are set up by the coastlines, or you can say overseas, at the time of 1947, the agriculture. So as we have seen that the agriculture and industries move hand to hand, so the agricultural, you can say farmers, also set up their farming things, so that if there is a cotton plant and they have planted cotton in their land, and the industries that are located near the overseas are of the cotton manufacturing. So this cotton farmer will have a benefit of the cotton planted, because the industries will bought their cotton from the agricultural farmer, and he will also have a profit from the manufacturing industries, and manufacturing industries will also have a profit from the cotton manufacture, because the transport will have a low cost, because the manufacturing or agriculture farmer is located to the near of the industries. So we can see that the huge agriculture hinterland was also surrounded by the industries. So thank you so much for today. This is it for today. We will meet in the next class to discuss the classification of industries, and this session will be on 18th of Jan at 1 p.m. on our channel EduDose, as you know. So there is a link of the notes in the description box. Just have a look of them. There are so much important notes and very quality wise they have been set up, and a website link is also given in the description box so that you can have the benefit of that. In this website you will have the solutions of the NCERT, you will have the explanations, video explanations, and the most important, that is what, chapter wise PYQs you will given, and the foremost thing is what, notes. So these four things will be given in your website, so please have a look of it. The link is given in the description box of the notes also and the website also. Subscribe to EduDose and please share it with your friends and families, and like also if you like the video, and share it also, and comment me below if you have need to anything or you want to ask me anything. I'll answer your question within 1 hour. So thank you so much for today.